With this program, it's about, okay, what did I learn not to do this time, as opposed to I lost X number of days of sobriety because I slipped up. You are going to slip, you are going to relapse. It's not about stopping it, it's about understanding why and fixing it.
So hey everyone, it's your Reboot Hero, and I have here Jordan. He's from the implementation program and group, and he's willing to show his pretty much progress so far in the group. He's still rebooting, but he has awesome wins to share. And Jordan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came across the program?
Yeah, so let me see. To cut like a long story short, I kind of come from like a broken home, and so kind of like everybody else in this group, I've developed unhealthy coping mechanisms of various kinds, but pornography being the main one. And so, kind of throughout my life, I learned how to cope using that with stress and anger and all the other feelings that I was learning how to numb at the time. Um, and then moving into college, I met my now wife and went through a bunch of like therapy stuff to try to kind of get control over this after a slew of bad relationships. There was a period where I got cheated on where my addiction actually started to escalate, and I was able to curb that, but it regressed kind of back to the norm of just regular daily acting out with porn and masturbation. And so we get together, do some therapy, do some work on myself, get into some 12-step programs. I was in our local SAA group at a couple of different places, and the things that I learned at the SAA were helpful in giving me perspective with dealing with addictions and other addicts and developing empathy, but didn't really help me solve my problem. So, um, while those programs can be good for some people, I'm literally sitting in a room with like a bunch of people who are like, they can't go near schools. I've listened to testimonies from a guy with DID talking about like taking advantage of people who kind of look like me in like truck stop bathrooms. And so
Yeah.
there was a bits and pieces of where it just didn't feel that safe. So I kind of stepped away, was feeling pretty discouraged. And then I was on my phone one day and I saw an ad on Facebook for this porn reboot program. And I was like, I know that word from Reddit. Let's check this out. Um, I found the 7-day challenge, gave that a shot, and then signed up to the Facebook group and got added in. Gaspar hit me up, and then it was off to the races after that. And that was like middle of October this year, and it's December 27th. So yeah, a little over 2 months, 3 months,
Yeah,
whatever that math is.
yeah, about to. But yeah, regardless, it's been a journey, quite a journey for you, man. And I appreciate you sharing that, vulnerable stuff there, because um it's crazy the world out there. And I'm similar to you where I came from 12 step, the celebrate recovery. So I'm very familiar. I'm like you, I developed like the empathy and like safe space to share.
Yeah.
And just like you, bro, I was like, man, there's something missing. I still keep slipping and I don't understand why. So thank you for sharing that, brother. So what was the main thing that helped you out the most? What was that missing link or piece for you when you joined the group?
Paying for it.
Yeah.
uh Honestly, it's just I kind of felt like it was just the right time. One of my other issues that I deal with a lot is I'm a card carrying workaholic. I will bury myself in my job if I'm not careful. And I left my previous place they were taking care of me and making sure that I was like paid well, but they weren't making sure that my mental health was taken care of. And there was always promises of it'll get better, it'll get better. And I honestly, I just kind of hit fuck it. And there was no more it's getting better. And I switched jobs, got this new place, and it was the environment's better, the culture's better. I'm able to take a step back. The entire, like my whole world kind of reshaped itself around a healthier work habit. And once that was done, I was like, oh, I think I'm ready to tackle this.
Oh,
Right
nice.
about the time I'm like thinking these thoughts, being like, I should probably do it, that Facebook ad pops up. So that's, to me, that was God saying, here you go.
Yeah, I'm a man. I'm a big believer in like synchronicities. Like you see something, it's not by accident. So,
Yeah.
hey man, thank you for sharing that. That's hey, you had to go through that phase first in order for you to fully commit to the reboot because you have to commit to this. And it's not easy, but once you get like a baseline on what works for you, it becomes easier in that sense. So what was
Yeah.
like the main tool that actually helped you get like more control of your behavior?
Um, Journaling and meditation. I found that if I'm consistent with those two things, whether it's just doing the feelings exercise, dialoguing, whatever it is that I'm doing, as long as I'm writing something down and taking time to physically be present, it works really well for me. I'm still working my way through breaking the cycle and the modules. I actively take notes in journaling when I do those things, and it's really just the pausing, the writing, and taking in the stuff slowly and really processing everything has been the biggest deal. That's what's helped me kind of figure out the sub personalities like the book talks about.
Yeah.
There was a post I put in the Facebook group about like talking to my inner child that was like really crazy for me.
Yeah.
Um, so there was just those small little things that don't sound like they have a lot of weight has been probably the biggest things for me because I'm using the other tools like the wind wall and stuff, writing those things down.
Yeah.
But things that are more tangible is when I take a step back and center myself through the day and start the day that way, it's easy to continue that momentum because that's the most important thing I've done first thing. And
Yes.
once you knock that out, the rest of your day,
Nice. So anchoring your day has helped you a lot.
yeah.
And nice, brother. So what was like those emotions that came up for you that were constantly on loop, and once you had enough awareness to like see it, you were like, damn, I didn't know this was like bothering me at an unconscious level.
Yeah, my anxiety is a lot worse than I thought it was. I found just from trying to step away, I've got like self-soothing exercises that I did, or like mannerisms that I didn't realize that I had until I stopped the other ones.
Yeah.
Um, that one's a pretty big one. And then I find myself getting complacent a lot, and I don't really understand, or not that I don't understand. Like it was happening more frequently than I thought it was. It's like I knew that these were kind of issues for me, but I wasn't really sure exactly how frequently because I was trying to numb it or chase different distractions. Once the distractions were gone,
Mhm.
there's like, oh, this is happening to me. Like the first time I caught it, I realized I was feeling anxious about every 45 minutes in
Oh,
in
yeah.
different amounts. I'm like, oh, like I can deal with this, but I didn't realize I needed to deal with it type thing.
Dang, that's big, dude. That's something, yeah, you usually could dismiss it and it becomes normal to you, those feelings. And then
Yeah.
you start getting to like this baseline of like maintenance. You're like, this is not normal. I'm not supposed to feel anxious all the time or quite frequent. I like
Yeah.
to say like 80% of your day goes like well, but like that 20%, yeah, of course, life happens. But if it's like more than half your day that you're feeling antsy, that there's something that you're in constant fear and you don't feel safe. Why don't I
Yeah.
feel? And that's important, brother. Thank you for sharing that. And what's another big win that you could share that looking in a short amount of time? I know you say about give or take 90 days in the program. What's
Mhm.
another win that you experienced so far?
This is going to sound weird, but stepping away from it,
Mhm.
like talking about, you know how whenever we act out, we get these dopamine rushes and you get kind of like drugged up a little bit.
Yeah.
Being quote unquote sober, I feel like I have superpowers because my reflexes are better. It like my senses are sharper.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how this is gonna sound dumb, but I didn't realize like how physically I was restricting myself by being doped up on my own chemicals for so much.
It's not a dumb question. I mean, it's at all. It actually makes sense. So think
Yeah.
about this, brother. Like your body is like super smart and complex. It holds if it's holding on to these negative energies like anxiety, depression, you name it, right?
Hmm.
That takes energy. That makes you less up to your superpower, if you will. You be optimal. You cannot operate optimal. So once you get rid
Yeah.
of that, or not get rid of it, but once you kind of like you start stabilizing, you start going back to normal. And like you say, your Spider-Man, your reflexes start coming back, right? That's I believe that
Yeah.
100%.
It was really funny too because I was like kind of joking about it with my wife, and then she saw me do it, and she's like, "Oh, you're not kidding." I've catching stuff left or right, just falling off tables that I would have missed every time before. So
Damn, so so in a physiological level, your brain, hey man, it's more sharp, it's sharper. That's crazy, man. That's
yeah.
good. That's an amazing win. Thank you for sharing that, dude. Um, Anything else, brother? What did you join any of the reboot coaching calls? If so, what was there like your top one that you enjoy the most?
Um, just because of my schedule, I don't get to join them all live. I've caught a handful of JK's talks on Tuesdays. Those have been good, and probably the biggest takeaway I've gotten from those the past few weeks has been just remembering to focus on being outcome oriented, not outcome dependent,
Hmm.
because that to me was just kind of putting those two words together that made sense because I'm focusing on what do I want to achieve as opposed to reacting to what had happened.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I know I need to focus on more is doing that because there was also another, I don't remember if it was one of the calls or a post or a chat or something, but somebody was talking about focusing on a behavior with a reaction that you don't like and basically figuring out how would I like to respond to this and then practicing that. And that to
Oh,
me goes back to the outcome oriented where you're focusing on, okay, I'm going to correct this behavior. So I've been kind of picking or trying to, as often as I remember, like one negative reaction that I know I have pretty regularly during the week. And then when that comes up, responding the way that I want to.
right. It's kind of like you're preparing in case, right? Instead
Yeah.
of like reacting in that moment, which is like never a good idea. Which is
Yeah.
yeah, okay. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, and man, and the group is filled with those like gold nuggets, if you will. Like a lot of it'd be like, damn, I never thought about that. Or someone brings up a good point about a tool they use, or they look at it differently, but you've been using the same tool, but they used it in a different way. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sharing that, Jordan. And brother, I know it's been only 90 days, man. You have so much gold here. But what would you say to a brother that's watching this? And he's like, man, you know what? I've come from the 12-step world. I went to SAA and but the biggest hurdle is I just I don't know, there's something in me that's stopping me from investing. What would you tell that brother? What would you tell him?
Stop counting days.
Okay.
That was really hard for me when I had my first real relapse.
Uh-huh.
Because so from to give you an idea, from the time I started the 7 day challenge to my first slip was just over 5 weeks.
Wow.
And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And when it did, I was like, I lost all this time. No, that's not correct.
Right.
That's the thing that I feel like the 12 steps doesn't do a good job because it kind of goes back to the AA thing, which is a whole different deal. Is with this program, it's about, okay, what did I learn not to do this time as opposed to I lost X number of days of sobriety because I slipped up.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing for me is it's a more positive way to look at it, kind of like the counting the wins thing. It's the more positive your outlook is, the more positive you're actually going into it. And then realizing you are going to slip, you are going to relapse. It's not about stopping it, it's about understanding why and fixing it.
Yes, I love that. Not even gonna add to it. That's perfectly said. Yeah, because and it's you could hear these concepts unless you go through it and like harness like that consciousness of like, man, all it is really data, and I'm just creating this cycle loop because whatever story I have. And yeah, thank you, Jordan. That was very profound. I appreciate that. And hey, brothers, this guy is just 90 days in. Can't wait to see 6 months
It
from now.
does suck.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you're right. Cause it's like, oh, we attach so much of our identity to the day that, and when that happens, a lot of hurt, right? Disappointment and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
all right, Jordan, how would you describe your experience so far in the reboot system in one word?
this is hard. I'm not really a man for a few words. Eye opening. There we go. I can do
Eye
that.
opening. Okay. Eye opening. I like it. Thank you, Jordan. So, brothers, thank you for watching this interview, and we appreciate you, Jordan, for sharing your experience so far in the program. And hopefully, I get to interview you in the next 90 days, brother. I want to hear more of your wins and insights as you grow on your reboot. So, everyone, thank you for watching, and it's your reboot hero, and I'll see you in the next one.